Hello YouTube, it is Chris here, and in today's episode we are going to be discussing the S30R Baton version 3 by Olight, so stick with me. Welcome back everybody, and thank you for sticking with me. Like I said, today we're going to be doing a full test and review of the Olight S30R Baton version 3. Now I'm going to plug all the nerdy tech specs down in the description box below, as well as a link down for my Amazon store so you guys can go check that out in advance. But something I need to make clear to you guys is at the end of all, keyword is all, of my testing, this flashlight did have a catastrophic failure, but it was at the gross abuse testing stage. Now I know a lot of you who follow me on social media got that vague post that I posted yesterday really kind of annoyed, because this is my absolute favorite everyday carry flashlight that I have had to date. For a single 18650, this is one of the smallest ones. It was really lightweight. I like the magnetic tail cap that was used for the charge port. I mean, everything was just beautiful for this thing. It had a lot going for it. It had a nice deep carry pocket clip. It had good modes. It was over 1,000 lumens. I was super happy. Now, before everyone jumps on the keyboard and flips out, I've already gave a disclaimer as to this, but this is an $80 flashlight, and that's what I want you guys to come across as clear. And every single Olight, including the R50 Pro Seeker Law Enforcement Edition, has passed this drastic gauntlet of testing with flying colors. All of them have passed. The small ones, the dinky ones, the big ones, the heavy ones, the medium-sized ones. Every single flashlight to date has passed this test. And there were a few things I noticed about this flashlight right off the bat when I was testing, that the aluminum walls were a little bit thinner. Now, for what it's specifically rated for, which is the IPX8 and the 1.5 meter drop, with my testing that pushes it way past that, it did phenomenal. But what I like to do is take it and push it to what I call the bomb-proof mode, which basically, if you are in the most wild, crazy position in your entire life, can you count on this flashlight to operate and function and not break on you in some of the worst possible conditions? And to date, before this flashlight, 100% of the time I could say I can guarantee you that these flashlights are built like tanks and they will operate for you beautifully. This time, I can't say that. So, without wasting any more time, let's get straight to the test footage. Alright, we are out here with the S30R Baton version 3. Lights on. And we are going to go for a walk and see how it does. So the mode that I had this flashlight in most often was medium, but we're gonna go ahead and turn this flashlight off. If I can find the button, there we go. From the off position, you press in long hold, and that brings up firefly mode. Now, if you press in long hold again, it'll pull up low mode. And that is the normal low mode. The mode I was using it in when we were doing the walk was medium. And then there's high. Then if you double tap, you turn it into turbo, which is the full 1050 lumens. Then if you triple click, that pushes strobe. Then I usually just normal press to turn it off, and I turn it back, which is high. And then I'll long press to go to low, and then go back to medium. Now I have an empty field over here, which we're gonna walk to. And we'll jam this bad boy out on turbo to let you guys see how bright this thing goes. And right there in front of us is about 60 yards out. It's doing a pretty good job, but keep in mind guys, this is an EDC flashlight, so you're gonna get some pretty good distance with it, but it's not gonna be like a super thrower. This is a flashlight you use for your every single day. 60 yards that you guys can pick up on camera. But yeah, that's about it. Alrighty, so we have the S30R Baton version 3. Flashlight is on, and we're on my balcony. So we are about 15 feet in the air, and we're gonna do the first drop. I want to do this at daylight so you guys can see this. Alright, so it survived. You see a little bit of dirt on there, but other than that, it's doing pretty good. But what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take this and chuck this a little bit farther. Thanks, bud. And for the third and final drop, those are my kids and my dog. They're my runners for this, so I can keep this test moving pretty fast. But we're gonna take this for a third and final time, and we're gonna chuck this pretty far. There we go. So my son Ryan's gonna pick it up, and then we're gonna check the modes and see how it survived the 3 15-foot drop tests. Alright, as we can see, it's pretty covered in dirt. Still on, so we're gonna turn it off, turn it on, cycle through the modes just fine. We're gonna hit strobe there, and then we're gonna test firefly mode, which firefly does working. So it survived the 3 15-foot drop tests, no problem. Now we're gonna move on to the underwater testing, and also we're gonna do the freeze test for extreme cold temperatures. And we're gonna leave it in there and see if it survives the underwater submersion. Alrighty, I think 23 minutes is plenty of time. If there were any seal leakages, we would definitely know about it by now. So the flashlight is still on. We're gonna go ahead and turn it this way. Now, because I don't want this to take like 17 hours to freeze, I'm gonna empty a little water out of it, make sure it's still submerged. And then we are going to take this bad boy and stick it in the freezer. And once it's completely solid, we'll see if the flashlight is still on, and then we will see how well it fares. Alrighty, so it's been a little over 2 hours, but the flashlight itself turned off. Now I see air bubbles forming in there, and that makes me nervous. So I'm hoping there's nothing wrong, and I'm wondering if it's just a bad, like a dead battery, because I've been using this flashlight for several weeks, so I want to unfreeze this thing and check and see what's going on inside. Hopefully there's no internal issues and it's just the battery shutting off because the battery died. So that was the battery as it stands at 4.1 volts at a 4.2, so the battery wasn't the issue as far as the charge. However, I don't think there's an issue because the battery is still charging. So it may have just gotten too cold, which is kind of concerning. So if you're in like psychotically cold temperatures, maybe not be a bad thing, but I'm gonna let this thing get back to room temperature and we'll test it and see if it still works and see if the extreme cold was in fact the problem for this particular model. Alright, it's been a few minutes. I've gotten this thing back to room temperature, put the battery back in, and I can tell you that it is not, I think it just got too cold. Because it's still cycling through all the modes just fine. It's doing great. So, in a super extreme cold temperatures, like freezing temperatures, definitely be careful with this thing. It looks like the walls of this flashlight are extremely thin. They're a little bit thinner than some other models I've seen. I can't give it my recommendation for the freezing temperatures, but it passed water submersion, which is what it's rated for, and it also passed the drop test really well, so now we're going to go throw it off a 50-foot bridge. I apologize in advance for the wind, but we are out here on the bridge with the S30R Baton version 3, and as always, it is a long, long way down. I'm on the trail that's going to lead me underneath the bridge. And now, with this gross abuse 50-foot drop that I do with all the Olights, and so far to date, they've all passed. I'll shout out my disclaimer yet again. because I know there's going to be plenty of people who've never watched this. There's really no winning for this for me at all, because if this flashlight passes this test, you guys will hail that flashlight as a super tank, bomb-proof, awesome build. That's great. But if it fails, I get hailed as an idiot, because like, why would you do that? That's so stupid. So for me, in the end, realistically, there's no winning. But let's just keep an open mind, have some fun, and understand that this is gross abuse testing and it's gratuitous, just to see how far we can push these flashlights. All right, we are out here underneath the bridge yet again, but this time there's a buttload of water to really up the ante right next to all the rocks. And up there is Jenny, who is going to be doing the aerial footage from up there. But let's see if this thing can survive. Oh man, let's go find this thing. I am not even 100% sure where this went. I lost it in the sunlight. Alright, so after much hunting and searching, I actually found it right here in the fucking water. Holy crap. So, Jesus, let's replay that footage. After much looking it over, if you look right there, you can see a small little dent and deviation. Tail cap looks fine, but that right there, see that big huge wobble? And when I try to turn it on, this thing will not turn on anymore. So this particular one, the S30R Baton version 3, does pass the waterproof testing and the 15-foot drop tests, but this build quality on this particular flashlight, this may be my sample, does not survive the 50-foot drop test. Now, as I said, this is gratuitous violence and footage that I do just to see how far we can push it, but what's disappointing is every single Olight flashlight before this has passed. So let's go back to the tabletop for my final thoughts. Well, I hope you found that test footage as eye-opening as I did. Now, this thing did take a little bit more of a beating than with all the bouncing and the skidding and the fact that I lost it and it got hit in the water. But this thing is very susceptible to very, very cold temperatures. It will stop operating on you, which is concerning because my freezer is, I want to say it's only at 10 degrees. That's where I have it set. So, and I know a lot of places just in North America get well below 10 degrees in the wintertime. And if you need this flashlight to operate for you, can you really count on it? Now, for what it's rated for, now keep in mind, every single flashlight before that has passed the extreme cold temperature testing I did. And 10 degrees is below freezing, so for me, I consider that extreme temperatures. Also, every single flashlight has passed the 50-foot drop. Now, I think the attributing factor to this one is they tried so hard to go so lightweight and so slim that there was a slight degradation in the quality of the construction. It was able to buckle under that force, and I was pretty disappointed because this was my favorite one. This is the one that I was convinced was going to pass, and I was, I've gotten so comfortable with all the Olights passing the test, I didn't even think about it. And you got to think, they're like, well, gravity hitting rocks. You got to understand, though, this flashlight right here weighs a buttload more than that one, and this one is going to be hitting much harder, and so did the X7 Marauder, which was much, 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 much heavier. Now, regardless, for as it is rated, keyword, as rated by the company, it passed my tests. So I will give it my recommendation as an EDC flashlight, but as a, apocalyptic, bomb-proof, awesome flashlight, I just simply can't. And that's what I wanted Olights to be, because their price tag is pretty damn premium. For an $80 flashlight, this is really cool, but I also feel they could have done better. Because this is almost a $100 flashlight. It's $80, and that kind of was like, wow, like there's some competitive options out there. Now I still to this day haven't found a flashlight that is physically tougher for the size, the compact, the weight, the lumens, you know, all that stuff. So all those nerdy runtimes are going to be down in the description box below. And if you found this video enlightening and you agree or disagree, definitely drop a comment down in the description box below. And if you like this review and this test footage, definitely throw a big thumbs up to this video. It helps us keep doing what we're doing. And also, definitely check out those Amazon links that I have in the description box below. They don't raise your end-user prices, but they help us keep doing what we're doing. But that just about does it. I hope you guys have an absolute wonderful day. I'm out.